What's going on, guys? I'm your host, Marshall Green, and you are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. In today's episode, we're going to react to the introductory press conference of Joe Schoen. It just ended minutes ago, and there were some pretty interesting things he said. He talked about, he touched on Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, the head coach search. John Mara had some interesting things to talk about regarding Deshaun Watson. But first, I want to talk about what Joe Schoen had to say about Daniel Jones. He spoke highly of him. He had some good things to say, but he also said he has to go back and watch the film. His full evaluation's not done, but this is what he exactly had to say about DJ. We will look to build around him and make him a better player. He is a hardworking guy, been here the last few days working. The kid has physical abilities, arm strength, he's athletic, he can run. So I'm really excited to work with Daniel. When the new staff gets in here, we'll build an offense around Daniel to accumulate what he does best. I really like to hear that because I think the easiest path for the Giants to get back is building from within, which Joe Schoen also talked about in a great deal. Mike Garafolo, he also talked to John Mara following the press conference of Schoen, and this is what Mara had to say. We do feel Daniel can play. We've done everything possible to screw this kid up. He points to the coaching and coordinator changes, O-line struggles, says they need to get everything right around Jones and then make an intelligent evaluation. I don't think the evaluation of Daniel Jones is over. How can you judge a guy that's been through 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years and a guy that's been behind an offensive line that's been one of the bottom 5 units since he's entered the NFL? The thing I always say about DJ is this: his good is good enough. Go watch the New Orleans Saints game from earlier this year. He had a game-tying drive in the last seconds of the fourth quarter and then a game-winning drive in the overtime period. That was against one of the best defenses in the NFL, but his bad is really bad. But I also think his bad is due to the people and the circumstances he's been put in. Bad offensive coordinator and a bad offensive line. It's tough for any quarterback to succeed in that position. I'm not saying Daniel Jones will ever be an MVP, but I do think he can be a solid and winning quarterback in the National Football League. Be real with me. Be honest. We've been talking a lot about DJ, a lot about Deshaun Watson, a lot about Daniel Jones' replacements. Joe Schoen, it sounded like he backed Daniel Jones in his press conference. DJ was in attendance. We'll also touch on players that were there. Maybe he was just sweet-talking him. We'll see what he has to say about his fifth-year option, which is worth $23 million, and the Giants and Schoen will have to make that decision very, very soon. But let me know, should DJ be the starter next season? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Joe Schoen, he touched on a lot of things. One of the things he got out early was that the salary cap is a concern and a real problem. It's real, it's a concern, and he also said him and Kevin Abrams are going to have to make difficult decisions. People thought, oh, maybe that meant trading Saquon Barkley, because if you trade Barkley, you save $7.5 million. We'll touch on what he had to say about Saquon Barkley, but it doesn't sound like Joe Schoen has any plans or ideas to get rid of Barkley. Jordan Renan, he spoke with John Mara following the press conference of Joe Schoen. They went off to the side. Mara spoke to reporters, and this kind of came out of nowhere. He said this: we are not trading for Deshaun Watson. He went on to say the allegations, salary cap, and all that exists with the situation is not the right fit for the Giants. Joe Schoen, after his press conference, was also off to the side with reporters, and he echoed the same sentiments. He said, I'm not sure how we could pull that off with the salary cap situation we are in right now, and the off-the-field stuff is absolutely a concern. There were reports that came out last week that Brian Flores and Deshaun Watson wanted to team up in New York. We talked about it. We did a video about it. And a lot of you guys in the comments wanted Watson to be a New York Giants. Some didn't, some did, but this is your chance. Are you upset the Giants aren't trading for Deshaun Watson? I think it's a little weird that Mara came out and just said it, but maybe he didn't like the rumors clouding this organization and the idea of Watson playing for the Giants. But let me know. If you're upset they're not going to trade for Watson, like this video. And when the Giants hire a head coach, or they announce that DJ will be back, or they pick up or decline his fifth-year option, we'll be breaking it down on this channel. All we do here at New York Giants Now is react to news, rumors. We talk about it. We're the most interactive Giants YouTube channel out there. We thrive off audience interaction. So I love when you guys get in the comments and answer questions. And look, we've gained over 1.5 thousand subscribers in the past 28 days. So I want to thank everybody that has hit that big red button. I want to get to 6 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and I can't do it without your help. So if you're looking for a Giants channel that does nothing but talk New York Giants football all year round, the NFL draft's right around the corner. Giants have 11 picks. We'll be breaking it down all off season. This is your one-stop shop. Hit that big red button. Some Joe Schoen press conference takeaways, some things that I really liked about it. There were things that I really liked, some things that left me a little bit head scratching, but all in all, I was a fan of the introductory press conference. At the end of the day, who gives a damn about winning a press conference? Look at Nick Sirianni. He couldn't even speak, and he got his team into the playoffs in his first year. First, I want to touch on the players that were in attendance for the Schoen press conference. DJ, Logan Ryan, Blake Martinez, Sterling Shepard, and Cam Brown. The first 4 names on the list, those are the leaders and the captains for the New York Giants. Sure, DJ's there probably getting stuff to clear it up with his neck and doing physical therapy and stuff like that. Logan Ryan, he's a leader. He has been a pillar since he came to the Giants. Same with Blake Martinez. He's a captain of this defense. And the same can be said for Sterling Shepard, the longest tenured New York Giants. You could say he's also rehabbing his injuries, but I believe he loves being a Giant, and he is a core essential piece to the attitude and mindset and heart of this Giants team. This quote from Joe Schoen I thought was really, really cool. They asked him, why did you want to be the general manager for the Giants? What intrigued you? What did you like? What did you dislike? He said this. This is the New York Giants. That was always really cool to me. The fact that I even interviewed, it's a historic franchise. This was my favorite part of the presser. This is someone that understands how storied of a franchise the New York Giants is. He went on to say, he called his wife after the first interview and said, this is the job I want. That got me fired up a little bit. We have someone in the building that wants the Giants to be successful. We call them the New York Football Giants. I love that. I love calling them that. But this is someone that I firmly believes is happy he has this job, feels lucky to be a part of this organization, and will be a driving force to getting them back on track. Another thing that was echoed multiple times throughout his interview, he said this: I believe in drafting, developing, and retaining our own players. That's big, because since 2010, the Giants have only 3 players earn second contracts. They traded JPP to the Bucs for some middle round draft picks. He's gone on to resurrect his career. Joe Schoen, he also talked about he's not going to go in an NFL free agency and swing for the fences and always try to bring in the big fish. He didn't say he would never do it, but he believes in drafting and developing and retaining his own players. He talked about the percent or the times that you miss on those guys are larger than when you have guys in, because when you have guys in your building, you know who they are and you know what they breathe and bleed, and when they're in your building, you know more about them, so you're less likely to miss on the type of person they are. Another thing that a lot of people are talking about is Joe Schoen and the analytics and how he's a big analytics guy. He believes in it. And there was a report that talked about, hey, you know, analytics is a big buzzword right now. What are your thoughts on it? I thought it was really funny. He said, we like to use the term data innovation. This is someone that is a forward thinker and is going to use every resource he has to get the Giants back on track. He believes in analytics, or as he liked to call it, data innovation. Another thing that I thought was really important, he came out and said it. I'm in good shape for the draft. He talked about how he's already been scouting the NFL draft since the start of this season for the Buffalo Bills, and he's talked about the Giants having 11 draft picks. That's kind of been questionable because that's not firmly confirmed, but if Schoen says it, I believe it, and if the Giants have 11 picks, I think Joe Schoen is the man for the job to nail those picks. He also said this about the head coach. There's obviously, they said, by this weekend, they could hire a guy if they like someone that pops out in the first couple of interviews. He said this on his head coach: the ability to build a staff is important. That's what I like about Schoen. He's going to give his head coach the ability to build his own staff. That's what concerns me about Brian Flores. He's never been able to hit on the offensive coordinator position. That's why I'm in on Brian Dable. I think he can get a guy in there. And the fact that he's going to call the plays for the offense, I think that's big. Dable's at the top of my list, and rumors are coming out that he is the favorite to land this job. Joe Schoen, he also said this on his press conference, which I like to see. They asked him about, when do you got to get to the playoffs? What do the Giants got to do? How soon can they get there? He said, we need to see progress. We need to see the offense get better, the defense get better. We need to see progress throughout the entire football operation to see we're getting better in the future. He didn't put a timetable on the playoffs because I think everybody that's watching this video and loves the Giants believes that this is not going to be an easy, quick fix. They're not going to wake up tomorrow and be Super Bowl contenders. Shane believes that. He knows he's got to build through the draft because of the cap situation. This is going to be a couple years stretch. He admitted that it took 3 years to get it right in Buffalo. Hopefully it doesn't take that long for the Giants, but buckle up, as my guy RC says. It may be a while until the Giants are great again, but Joe Schoen, I promise you, will be a guy at the top of the list that can do so. But give it to me. What is your one-word reaction to the Joe Schoen press conference? I liked what I saw. I think this was the right hire. He was at the top of my power rankings of GM candidates, but let me know, what is your one-word reaction to the Joe Schoen press conference? For me, it's vision. This guy clearly has a vision of how he needs to make the New York Football Giants great again. He's a forward thinker. He's analytically driven. He wants to build through the draft and retain his own players. He has a vision, and I believe he's going to be able to execute it. Build from within is a mindset and something that I love. It's something that the Giants haven't really done in the past. They've tried to swing for the fences in free agency, but it just has not worked. I thought this tweet was very important, and it kind of detailed the Giants, how they've been kind of the opposite of building from within, which is going to be a staple with Joe Schoen. Shane puts a big emphasis on drafting and developing. This is something the Giants have severely lacked over the past decade. Since 2010, only 3 players have gotten a second contract. Jason Pierre-Paul, a guy they traded. Odell Beckham, a guy they traded, and Sterling Shepard. This is going to be a new day for the New York Football Giants. You can kind of cross out the way of trading their own players. They're going to build from within and re-sign the guys that have earned second contracts. This isn't going to be a quick fix. Shane's not going to be a guy that's going to be able to come in tomorrow and make Daniel Jones the next Josh Allen. But I believe that he will be able to put the pieces around Daniel Jones if he elects to build and move on with Daniel Jones as the franchise quarterback. He's going to put him in a spot to be successful. The introductory press conference is over. We've heard from Shane for the first time. We've gotten to see a little bit of his outline of what he wants to do for the Giants. Let me know, was Shane the right hire? Type R for right or W for wrong. We're filming this video right after the press conference was over, but Shane went to the side and spoke with reporters, and I kind of want to keep you updated with what they said. Joe Schoen said they could have a head coach in place by Saturday morning if they decide we've got our guy from the first group of interviews, but he added there are a couple names we discussed if they decide to expand the search. This is something that I really, really liked, and it kind of gets me going. John Mayer said the only seat they could get for Shane on a flight in for his first interview was the last row, middle seat by the bathroom. Noted, Shane didn't complain. Shane to the reporters just now said, I'm going to interview for the Giants GM job. I'll ride on the wing if you need me to. Dude, this guy is just a badass. Another thing I liked, he said he was excited about Saquon Barkley. When he came out, he was a rare talent. And he also said this, GM Shane on trading for Watson, he's knowing where we are salary cap-wise and pending legal issues. I don't know how we could go down there. But this is something that I thought was very, very important when he talked about Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. If you want to see Daniel Jones put his best foot forward, he's got to be on his feet. If you want to see what Saquon can do, it would be nice if we could block guys. He knows the biggest fix and the biggest point of area and attack for Shane is going to be this offensive line. He also said, I'm excited about Saquon. Helping the O-line will help him and Daniel. So, guys, that was the interview. I hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, and give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. If you're looking for a new Giants talking head to follow on Twitter, hit me up at @MarshallGreen_.